Yes, I want to thank everybody again for joining us. My name is Kevin Miller with Salesfusion. I'm joined with Alexa Benatar from Greentech Media, who's going to be talking with us today a little bit about marketing automation and Salesforce.com and how they've blended those two systems together. Today's focus is a follow-up from Salesfusion's presence at this year's Dreamforce 2014 in San Francisco. Many of you who are joining the call today were likely visitors to our booth out at the show, and we're certainly glad to have you on again and have a chance to talk with you today. For folks that are just joining, a couple of quick house cleaning items before we get into the actual meat of the presentation today. Relatively short presentation. We should go about 35, 40 minutes on the high end today. From a question and answer point of view, we'll encourage everybody, if you'd like, to ask questions as we're going through the session. We won't immediately respond to your questions. However, when we get to the end of the presentation, we will read your questions out loud. We won't read your name. We won't read your company. We'll keep that confidential, but we will read the question out loud and certainly tackle that so that everybody can hear the question and then how we would respond to that. So today's session is really kind of focused around, obviously, CRM. You're all Salesforce users if you're on this call, and we're likely out at Dreamforce, and marketing automation and kind of the role that those two systems are playing as companies move towards creating a level of marketing and sales alignment at their organizations. So we'll go ahead and get into the presentation, talk a little bit about what we're going to cover today. Firstly, we want to talk a little bit about kind of this notion of optimizing lead generation and the overall lead management piece. Talk about some of those concepts that are really kind of bubbling up as extremely important for many companies today. How Salesfusion can help drive sales marketing alignment at your organization and provide real-time intelligence to sales. We're going to talk a little bit about a use case with one of our long-standing Salesforce.com clients, Greentech Media. We'll introduce them in a few moments and let them tell a little bit about their use of both of these systems and some of their strategies and what they're doing, what some of the benefits they're receiving from it. Certainly a very innovative company that we're pleased to have as a customer and also pleased to have on in today's session. So as we get into today's discussion, we're going to talk about this whole notion of optimizing lead generation. And while lead generation can differ from one company to another, and certainly the marketing campaigns that any company is running is going to vary widely, there is a level of commonality to it. And we as a company, Salesfusion, have been at this now from a technology point of view for just under 7 years. And in those years from the beginning, as a company, we've been very deeply integrating our marketing automation platform with CRM systems. And obviously today's discussion is focused on Salesforce.com. By and large, when we talk about kind of commonality amongst companies, particularly in a B2B sector, what they're trying to do, regardless of how you market, whether you're doing a heavy dose of outbound email-based marketing or whether you are focused very heavily on inbound marketing through SEO, PPC, and social programs, at the end of the day, no matter what, the goal of virtually every B2B marketer is to draw people into their website, and through that web activity, entice people by filling out a form and capturing their information, capturing oftentimes just enough information to begin a conversation with them, a digital conversation with them, if you will. And in years past, there's been a lot of different ways that companies have gone about doing this. Pre-marketing automation, companies would sometimes use the tools that came with the CRM system, like web to lead with Salesforce.com, where you can inject leads from a form directly into your CRM system. Or companies were using a form that may be associated with their content management system. What they didn't have was a marketing automation platform in place. Now, marketing automation systems can mean many things to many different people, but to define them in their simplest terms, it's essentially a platform in which you can run many campaigns, types of campaigns like email, and track your PPC and do all kinds of fun things that marketers love to do in there. But from a database point of view, it's a staging area for these leads. And as your leads flow through your campaigns into your corporate site, and some percentage of those leads complete a form and self-identify, we house those in the marketing automation platform, and then we are typically beginning the process of lead management. And that process will almost certainly involve some level of lead scoring and lead intelligence. Now, lead scoring in its simplest form is essentially looking at two things: the behavior of people and the information, the data, like their demographic and firmographic information. And it's assigning values to both of those. So we may work with our sales team to figure out, what is a valuable lead and why. And is a valuable lead somebody that has multiple repetitive visits into our website over a short time period? And is it somebody that has certain demographics about them that we're interested in, like title, size of company, location? We're then assigning value to those discrete components, adding those values up and saying, if somebody scores to a certain level, then we're going to call them a good lead, good enough that they deserve the attention of our sales team, at which time we push them over to the CRM system. In many cases, if that lead doesn't already exist in the CRM system, we'll physically create a lead, and we'll oftentimes send an email alert to the salesperson to whom it's assigned and say to them, in the email, you have a new lead, they've done these 5 things, it's time to call them. Now, in a perfect world, all of those leads would convert to opportunities and we close a lot of deals and we'd all be very wealthy. But that doesn't happen in reality. What happens is a fraction of those leads that we're pushing over to CRM, and by fraction it could be 10%, 20%, 30%, are going to ultimately convert to opportunities. What happens to the rest? Oftentimes what happens to the rest without marketing automation is they sit in the CRM system until such time that they either call you back or sales is in a lull and they go back fishing through their old leads and decide to call into some of their old leads. That's not the case today. The way these systems are basically set up and communicating back and forth with each other now, if a sales rep is making a call into someone, they're getting voicemail, 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 no response, no response, no response, that may not indicate that that person will never buy from you. It just indicates that they're not ready to speak to you yet. So what will often happen is a person will change a status in the CRM record. So we'll move them from, open status in CRM to nurture. And the marketing automation systems now are smart enough and integrated enough that we can look into Salesforce and say, oh, okay, Salesfusion now sees that this lead has been moved to nurture. Let's grab them and put them into one of these automated campaigns. Now, the hope there is that those people will continue to interact and we will push that lead back or alert sales that lead is now active again. So that's the whole notion of optimizing the lead generation process. A lot of the things on the left-hand side of this graph, the inbound, the corp website, the lead capture, these things aren't exactly groundbreaking technologies. In fact, many of them have been around for some time now and are tried and true and tested. It's really how we apply this middle section, this connection between marketing and CRM to optimize the flow of leads, the management of leads, the tracking of leads, etc. This is where everything is kind of shifting and moving towards. CRM itself, very mature technology. It's been around a long time. It is a very feature-rich platform. I personally have had, the benefit of working in CRM exclusively for about 4.5 years back in the late 90s. So right when CRM was really kind of coming together as a true platform from discrete SFA and contact management systems and call center applications, CRM kind of came together as a platform to manage the entire customer relationship. The 360-degree view was the popular term. Now, even after all these years, CRM itself hasn't changed much in philosophy. It's still a system that requires direct data input from sales in order for it to function properly. CRM systems are essentially built to manage how you sell. Okay, a lot of them will include selling methodologies, workflows in them, opportunity and funnel management. They're very good at managing what is known about leads, right? They're, who's qualified, who's the decision maker, what's their buying cycle, what's their time frame, what's their amount of the opportunity. So they're very good at managing those things kind of post-qualification. Sales, there's an entire generation of salespeople that have grown up not knowing what it's like to work in a Franklin planner. And all I've ever done is work in a CRM system. So adoption isn't so much about, I refuse to use the CRM system. You likely wouldn't keep your job today if you refuse to use the CRM system. It used to not be that way. In the 90s, there were plenty of salespeople who just refused to use CRM systems, and they stuck to their day planners because they just viewed it as extra work for them. Today, I think most people realize the importance of a CRM system in being able to accurately forecast revenue, manage sales activities, manage your sales efforts. okay? But salespeople, at the end of the day, if you were to talk to 10 salespeople, do they think their CRM system is something that takes from sales or gives to sales? I think most salespeople would agree that it takes from sales. It takes their time and their energy and effort to keep it accurate and up to date so that management can use it to do their job, which is predict the health of the business. All of the processes that in CRM are really organized around managing, again, post-qualification activities. In fact, if I were to sit down with 100 salespeople and ask them, who do you want to talk to on a day-in and day-out basis? If you had to make 50 phone calls a day, who do you want to speak to on a telephone? And you may get a variety of different answers, but when you pose it to them this way, you want to talk to people who have the capacity to buy, right? So salespeople are really only talking to people who are qualified, quote unquote qualified, who have the capacity to purchase their product or service. Otherwise, as a salesperson, you're just wasting your time. Salespeople aren't paid to just chit-chat with people. They're paid to close business. And oftentimes, if they don't, they lose their job. So salespeople really only want to talk to people that have the capacity to buy. Now, the problem is that marketing systems for too long have just dumped unqualified suspects into the CRM system, and it was up to sales to figure out, of the 1,000 leads that respond to the white paper, who has the quote-unquote capacity to buy. So one of the great improvements that we've made over the years with marketing and sales alignment has been to take that process and take it away from sales and put it back in marketing's lap with lead scoring. CRM systems help sales organize, but does not address the support of basically a third of the new lead to sales funnel. What I mean by that is the lead to sales funnel is essentially the pre-qualification things, the identification, the qualification, etc. So CRM systems are good, again, to help you manage what's known. Now, marketing automation systems can dramatically improve how a CRM functions in today's world by helping you, number one, identify. So the email programs and the lead capture that is executed from the marketing automation platforms, one of the neat things about it is they have tracking software on there, a JavaScript that basically places a first-party cookie on the person's machine who's interacting. This is a persistent cookie, so what it does is it tracks downstream activity. When I say downstream, I mean activity that's independent of the original click, right? So if I send an email, click here, fill out a form to download a white paper. Somebody may very well do that. And that's good information to know. What's better information to know is that a week later they came back to my website and spent an hour on it. For people like Greentech Media, that is a very digital company selling digital assets, that's an extremely vital piece of information. They need to know that. They need to know who's on my website, how did they get there, why are they there, what are they looking at. And you probably hear Alexa from Greentech talk about they have a variety of different products. So, one of their goals may be to use people's web activity to see what products they're looking at to figure out how they want to communicate with them going forward. There's alerting that notifies sales when leads or prospects are having some kind of a meaningful touch point with you, whether it's an email, landing page, a web visit, sharing of a post in a social network. Those activities are important to salespeople. They want to know when those things are occurring, especially leads that they're already communicating with. These alerts encourage sales to connect with leads and prospects earlier in the sales cycle. If we think about what is a sales cycle, most people would visualize a sales cycle as a funnel where a lot of people come in the top and then few people come out the bottom. That top part of the funnel, the widest part of the funnel, is now being managed almost exclusively by marketing today. And it's not until the middle of the funnel where we're engaging with salespeople, where there's kind of a lead scoring model that pre-qualifies it, and then sales completes the qualification process and takes the lead from there and moves it through the rest of the process. And marketing is improving CRM because it's classifying these leads this way. We're not dumping hundreds, if not thousands, of unqualified suspects into our CRM. We're keeping our CRM systems cleaner. We're not using them as the lead database. We're using the marketing automation platform as the lead database. That's the database that we're abusing, and those databases are purpose-built for that. We are classifying people into groups based on the demographics and their activity. And we're going to categorize them essentially into buckets, which in turn are going to trigger some kind of an action, whether that is routing a lead to sales, putting them to a nurture campaign, setting an alerting system in there to tell sales you've got somebody on the hook who may be interested, and then leads are going to be assigned to sales and CRM. And marketing is going to make sure that we're assigning the leads to the right people at the right time very quickly. The thing to think about in today's B2B sales environment is this. The sheer amount and volume of digital content that we push out to attract people. I always use the fishing analogy. Every piece of digital content is a piece of bait. It's a fishing lure. We're throwing it into the water to see if anybody bites on it. If they bite on it, we're going to hopefully hook them, reel them in. It is that way, except instead of throwing, one fishing lure out or one hook out, we're throwing hundreds, if not thousands of them out into the water to see who's biting what. And we need to basically understand who is consuming what information, and try to sift through massive amounts of data. Web activity data alone generates huge amounts of data, and sift through that data to just try and figure out who is the right people to talk to. And if we're not talking to people early, okay, if we're sitting back and letting them go through that entire upper part of the funnel by themselves, we're leaving a lot of things to chance. So this alerting is designed to hopefully get salespeople engaged much quicker when people are first having those first couple of nibbles on those content pieces, and then communicating with sales so that sales can hopefully pick that up and hopefully guide them along the route to purchase in the beginning, rather than just leaving them up to themselves to self-sell and self-educate, etc. Nurturing plays a huge part of marketing automation's value prop to CRM. You are going to generate 1,000 leads. Of those, a very small percentage are going to be ready to buy within the time frame that matches your opportunity funnel. Maybe you're really only looking 3 months out or whatever. A small fraction of the raw leads that you generate are ready to go. Okay, what about those ones that aren't ready to go? We do not want to leave them to their own devices. We don't want to leave them to go out to the broad web on their own and self-educate. We want to be the educators. We don't care how long it takes. Nurture marketing systems and marketing, we don't care how long it takes. We're not living in the time-compressed world of a salesperson. We can think quarterly, semi-annually, annually, and we can nurture people along and provide good content to them for a period of time until they're ready to engage, and they are at that point where they can engage with a live salesperson and they're within the quote-unquote the cycle or the time window. Leads that are not ready for sales engagement can be nurtured in a completely automated fashion, which is key because we don't have to sit down and figure out where should I put this person, where should I put that person, what content should I send this person or that person. We have the intelligence at our disposal with web activity to help us figure that out in an automated way. That way we can handle this at scale. Leads that are passed to sales too soon can easily be recycled just by sales pushing a button, and lead nurturing is essentially, again, fully automated, and it's going to pretty much take the guesswork and that gut feel out of what should we do with leads that aren't quite ready yet. We've left those in sales' hands in the past, and time again what happens is sales either forgets about them or moves on because, again, who does sales want to talk to? They want to talk to people with the capacity to buy. If someone isn't picking up the phone and talking to them, they're going to assume that that person doesn't have the capacity to buy or the desire to buy. Okay? So what I'd like to do is invite one of our clients, Alexa Benatar from Greentech Media. Alexa, I think I have you unmuted now. A little bit of background information as Alexa comes on. I'll let her tell you a little bit more about Greentech's business model. But she is basically the digital marketing manager and has been at Greentech now for a little under 2 years, I believe. And Greentech's a really interesting, innovative, very digitally focused company. And they've been a user of Salesfusion for some time, even prior to Alexa coming on. Alexa came on and it kind of took on the Salesfusion application as the primary user. So Alexa, without further ado, if you want to tell the folks that are with us today a little bit about Greentech, and then we can kind of get into some of the usage of the system.
Yeah. So hi, everyone, and thank you, Kevin, for the introduction. So just a quick overview of Greentech Media and our business model. So we have 3 parts to our business: online news and media, and then we have a research and consulting side, and then we do also in-person industry events throughout the year. So all of these areas of business are based on providing information to our users. So whether it's an article or a white paper, a research report, or a presentation at one of our events. So our salespeople are selling a lot of different types of products, but they all fall under our 3 areas of business. So it's either an online marketing service, a research report or some kind of research subscription product, or event sponsorships. So we use Salesfusion in a ton of different ways because we're a provider of information. Obtaining email addresses and information about our users is very, very important so we can reach them with relevant content. So we use drip campaigns and landing pages most frequently, but we also incorporate trigger emails when necessary. And every single day of the week we're sending out our newsletter, which is full of our latest news coverage. We send out event promotions for our in-person events, and then we also send out emails through Salesfusion for our research products. So across our website, greentechmedia.com, you'll see several Salesfusion touch points where we ask for an email address for newsletter subscription or a form requiring completion to download a higher value piece of content like a white paper or a research report brochure. So all of this information we're capturing through our site is all recorded into our database in Salesfusion. And we have several custom fields that we've created in Salesfusion specific to our sales team's needs, which is what we're pulling from Salesfusion to Salesforce. So right now we only have a basic integration set up between the two systems, and our marketing team relies heavily on the Salesfusion CRM, and our sales team is using the data pulled from Salesfusion inside of Salesforce. So since we're still kind of perfecting the integration, currently we're only pulling a limited amount of data from Salesfusion to Salesforce through these custom fields that we've created. But just having the small integration has already made it easier for our salespeople to see leads and also see the actions that they've taken on our site. So the two most valuable pieces that we're passing to Salesforce are lead scores, which I set up through our lead analyzer in Salesfusion, and then also landing page completion data. So our sales team is able to pull reports in Salesforce based off of all of the Salesfusion information and vice versa. So we've seen several benefits from Salesfusion. First off, it makes my job a lot easier because I'm using one system every day for everything. I build my email HTML, send emails, score leads, build landing pages, analyze our contacts, and I'm able to build custom reports based on my needs or our sales teams. It also provides an automated system that's working in the background of our site, capturing information about potential customers, and depending on the interaction of the user, then deploying automated messaging. With Salesfusion and Salesforce, our buyer journey is now a bit more defined. Depending on which area of business a user is interacting with us from our site or through email, we can now track their journey, and sales can act on their actions and then hopefully turn them into customers, because that is the goal.
That's great, and I appreciate that. And you know, I know a couple of the things that Alexa talked about, and I know she and I had kind of a few conversations prior to this. Is they're very resourceful in how they place areas throughout their site to get somebody to give them an email address or give them some information by, again, offering some really high-value piece of content. And again, Greentech is a purveyor of information, so digital information. And, you know, it's a quid pro quo. It's we're going to give you something really good if you give us a little bit of info like your email address, etc. And it's that point where, you know, it's key because they're cooking them, and then from there on out, they're able to kind of watch and evaluate what these folks are doing on the web. And Alexa and I were having a brief discussion about nurture marketing and some of their plans prior to coming on today. And for somebody like Greentech, who has a nice variety of products and services, one of the things that Alexa mentioned that she's kind of going to be figuring out in the future is really kind of looking at what products people are consuming and then how to nurture them along in very product-specific ways. And that's a common thing that we hear companies working towards today. They're really kind of, from their journey in marketing automation, is really kind of getting the basics down, understanding the platform, and figuring out how do I deliver emails in a traditional way, like a bulk email news blast, to doing some of the more reactive emails, the drips and the triggers, to then doing some of the more advanced things like lead scoring, which Greentech has done a great job with, and then how do we show that to sales so that we can help them. And I think Greentech, as part of their journey, has really kind of come far over the years and gotten to that point. And we're excited for where they're going to move going forward in terms of nurturing around people's exact interactions on their website, and that's certainly something a lot of our customers are really kind of getting into now as their maturity with these platforms grows. So, Alexa, wanted to thank you for telling us a little bit about what you're doing with Salesfusion and kind of some of the things that you've accomplished with it, and we look forward to continuing a long relationship with Greentech and helping you as you continue to evolve with how you use these two systems together.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on.
Yeah, it was great. And what we'll do now is, and it's good timing, we'll kind of shift gears a little bit. Let me go back to this previous slide a second. We referenced throughout the session today this notion of a unified funnel, where we've talked about a funnel. And as we visualize what a typical B2B funnel may look like, it's people are discovering your solution, they're evaluating your solution, then we're qualifying those leads and engaging with them, and then hopefully closing them for business. One of the things that has shifted over the years is when we used to think about a sales funnel, we thought about it purely from a sales perspective. Sales owns the funnel, and marketing existed outside the funnel. Marketing's job was to just kind of, like a guy shoveling coal into a steam engine, meant to shovel coal into that furnace, and that furnace just accepted that coal and burned through it. Not that way anymore, or at least it shouldn't be that way anymore. The way it should be is actually that marketing should actually have complete and total ownership of at least the first two steps of a funnel. Managing the discovery of the solution, managing how people get to you, right? That whole management of people coming in and touching you via the web, the way Greentech's doing it with their forms and their little field capture on their site, to evaluating it. Like Alexa referenced, they're using the lead analyzer tool in Salesfusion, very powerful lead management system that includes lead scoring, is evaluating who needs to go to sales, and then pushing those leads into Salesforce, but not walking away at that point. It's a joint ownership of that middle section of the funnel, the qualification stage, because marketing needs to be aware of what happens to leads that don't move forward, and sales has to be diligent about changing lead statuses, and especially ones that are bad leads. We want to tell marketing when leads are bad, because that's going to tell marketing where not to spend money, which is key. And telling us which leads are good, that's going to tell marketing where to spend more money, which is hopefully going to give you more of those quote-unquote qualified leads. And then, of course, sales is going to own those last two stages, the actual engagement and then hopefully closure of the business. So we've talked about a lot of this conceptually. It'll be easy for us to kind of visualize this when we go into Salesforce. So I have an instance of Salesforce up and running. And inside of Salesforce, one of the things that our clients, our Salesforce users enjoy is a pure single sign-on access to Salesfusion. So we basically add this button to the navigation, and when you select it, we know who you are and we sign you in, and you can basically go in and access the entirety of the Salesfusion application, the marketing, the landing pages, the event management, the lead management, the website visitor tracking, all of the things that these platforms have available to them. Basically, the marketer can go in and work just natively inside of Salesforce.com. We don't want to go through too much about what the marketers are doing in this system. That would be a topic for another day. The point we want to hammer home is this notion of what information is sales able to pass through to, marketing is able to pass through to sales to help sales do their job better. So when we look at this, we'll look at it from the perspective of a lead. Assume that you're using the lead record in this example, but it can be either lead or contact records inside of Salesforce. And we're going to go to a sample record in our system. What we can pass and how we pass it. There's really two methodologies. The first methodology would be where we actually physically create native objects inside of Salesforce.com, which we do. Salesfusion is a CRM system ourselves. We have the same exact relational data structure that a CRM system has, so we're able to mix and match the type of data that we pass back and forth and synchronize between the two systems. So in this example, as we're looking at James' record, it's telling us, okay, here's all the email campaigns he's been sent. Have they been clicked or opened? And here's all those landing pages, okay, vital data in the case of Greentech aspect, when people are filling out forms, a rep can go in and quickly see, okay, they filled out a form on June 9th, and here are the questions, and here's how this person answered those questions, so they can even see summary level data. In addition, they can also see what did you do on my website. And you can actually drill into these and actually go right into individual pages and assets on the website that the people accessed. So if a person came in and they browsed through your site and they went through 5 pages and then downloaded something, the rep would be able to see that progression of page views and how long somebody spent on those pages right here inside of the CRM system. And then if you're running event management, I don't think we have any with this one in particular, but if you're running the event management system inside of Salesfusion for webinars and such, it would show you which events people have registered and attended. So in essence, all the things that marketing's doing, from sending emails to people filling out forms to web activity and event attendance, is all pretty much showing up right here inside of the record, so that sales can use that information in a meaningful way. They can understand a person's interest level, which products they're interested in, how engaged they are on the web, etc. And they also have available to them a nice little report. All of our Salesforce customers will have this button installed in CRM, and you would push this, and it's going to basically open up what we call our marketing intelligence dashboard, which is going to show you things like a more graphical trend of how active somebody is on your site. Now imagine for somebody like Greentech Media, whose digital footprint is very large and very expansive, and their digital assets are their product. So for them to be able to see in a trend graph over a rolling 90-day period how active and engaged somebody is on the site is crucial information. And a rep can go in here and say, okay, I'm getting ready to call James Bowen, okay, and I want to see what James did the week of October 23rd. So they click on the bar, and you can pretty much go in, and I can see page by asset, everything that James looked at on my site that week, in addition to other things like seeing sent emails. Now, one of the differences between seeing a sent email natively inside of Salesforce versus seeing it through this report in Salesfusion, it gives the sales rep essentially the opportunity to hit email pop-up and actually view the content of an email. Okay, I know you received an email, but marketing sends out a lot of emails. Let me go in and actually see what was in this email. So when I call that sales lead back, I may be able to formulate a better plan of what we should speak about. And some of the other things we looked at as well, such as the ability to see landing pages and events. Now, there's some things that you could take action against in this form. Like, for example, you can go in and pick a campaign and send somebody an email right from here, or put somebody into an email campaign right from here. You could also make it so that sales can actually go in and pick templates that marketing has created and send really nice looking one-off HTML emails to prospects right from here. So there's some good interaction between marketing and sales through that window, but then there's also kind of that visual, here's what this lead's doing, here's what they're interested in, etc. And really that is really the essence of what we're trying to get to between this whole notion of aligning marketing and sales and optimizing lead management. It's helping sales understand the work that marketing is doing to benefit them and giving them access to that information in a place that they're familiar working with, Salesforce. We don't make them log into anything else. It's just right there, right where they're used to working anyway. And the hope then is there that sales can be trained and take advantage of that vital information so that they can hopefully qualify leads more quickly, engage with leads more quickly, and have a better opportunity to close more business, which at the end of the day is our ultimate goal. So with that, we're kind of coming up to the end of today's brief presentation. As again, we wanted to mention, we wanted to follow up from Dreamforce, and for the folks on the call today who joined us in the booth, we're thankful that you've given us another 35 minutes of your day to learn a little bit more detail about Salesfusion. There are some additional ways that you can interact with us. Of course, if you wanted to see a full-blown personalized one-on-one demo, we would encourage you to reach out to sales@salesfusion.com, or go out to salesfusion.com directly, and you'll see right on pretty much every page there's a button you hit to see a demo, and you can sign up for that. There's some ways you can follow us online through Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn, etc., and would encourage you to do that if you're interested in following some of the topics that we write about on a regular basis around the B2B demand gen funnel. So I don't see any questions sitting active on the board right now, and that's fine because certainly if there's no questions, hopefully we did our job and presented the information in as clear a manner as possible. So with that, we will thank everybody for attending today. And again, encourage you to go out and learn more about sales at salesfusion.com. And we will be sending out links to the recording and the materials from today. Alexa, I want to, again, personally thank you for taking time out, I'm sure, what is a very busy schedule, and telling the audience a little bit about SalesFusion and your use of it today, and Greentech Media, which is a wonderful company, and doing wonderful work up there. So thank you again, and we'll go ahead and
thank you.
We will wrap the session up, and everybody have a wonderful afternoon. The session is now complete.